Welcome back. Every smart city has a digital master plan, and urban technology solutions will be critical to these cities. In New York, urban technology startups are being given extensive support through focused incubation services. The New York City administration has tied up with Manhattan-based incubator Grand Central Tech Hub to promote and host startups working in the urban technology sector. We spoke to Robinson Hernandez, executive director of the facility, to understand how startups are making lives of New Yorkers better by using digital technology.
We have realized here is that New York, within the U.S., has to do a little bit of a better job in really trying to showcase the growth of the urban tech community. And so New York City, being at the forefront in technology, has developed a really robust program. Part of that development is manifested in what we're doing here. This is called the Urban Tech Hub at Grand Central Tech. It's a partnership with the City of New York in looking at really trying to focus and reinforce the urban tech community. What is urban tech? You know, a lot of people may ask. So urban tech is resiliency, sustainability, smart cities, built environment, transportation. And we feel that, you know, there is a significant growth taking place and awareness that has started to develop in the United States. As a result of that, we want to make sure that we can harness into that growth. And so what we're seeing are the development of programs like the Urban Tech Hub to really help assist that industry grow in New York.
Right. So what are the new trends that you are seeing in a new emerging area like urban tech?
Right. So, you know, some of the exciting stuff that we're seeing, IoT. There's a lot that's taking place from the Internet of Things, and how do we capture the data that's coming out of that? And so we are seeing that, you know, you can apply IoT to everyday life. You know, whether you apply it in, you know, transportation hubs or you apply it in your own household, there is a lot of data that can be captured from that, and that data can help drive how we engage with X, Y, or Z on a daily basis, or how we can engage with government on developing policy. And so we're seeing a lot of exciting stuff there. The ability to use devices to be able to track movement helps us to determine whether there are improvements that we can make in our transportation systems, or whether we can find ways of being able to improve on the efficiency of the built environment. So that's one area. Clean tech, of course, we've seen a lot of positive development there. We're seeing new technologies being developed in the U.S. that help to augment what's taking place globally.
What, according to you, are the top challenges that the startups in the urban technology space faces, and how do you think one can get around those challenges?
Right. I think, you know, you're always going to see financing as, you know, not that it's a challenge, but it's an area to try to really better understand. I think you're going to see financing. You're also going to see, how do I leverage the energy that's involved in the market? And so what the hub does really well is being able to provide an opportunity for many of the member companies to continuously access financing partners. New York City is a hub for financing. We have the largest banks, we have hedge funds, we have the VCs, the private equity firms. I think there's a lot that companies from this environment can really leverage. At the same time, I think that there is also ways for us to be able to partner, find ways of being able to access that networking opportunity, because New York City is seen as, you know, one of the top global cities in the world, of being able to bring together the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest, in order to be able to to engage and to network with each other.
Going by your experience, what are the attributes that financiers look at while you know before putting in money into such companies?
I think they're looking at what your burn rate is going to be. I mean, a lot of companies want to make sure that you're engaging, or that you're leveraging the investment wisely. I think folks are looking at the type of investment that they're making into R&D, and making sure that they also have the types of clients that are suitable for them. And so what they want to see is that there is a sound business plan that takes the right amount of risk and opportunity in trying to understand what their growth plan looks like.
What are the attributes that ensures that an urban enclave becomes a smart city? Globally, there is no definition for a smart city. In fact, for each country and for each region, there are varied connotations. But at the core of any smart city project, there is only one objective, and that is to provide a decent quality of life for its citizens. We spoke to American Planning Association on how the United States defines a smart city.
A smart city is one, the way I would put it, that uses the latest technology that's available to make systems smarter and more intelligent, and, for example, let cities manage things like traffic, waste, energy to be more sustainable. But there's another component of it that's also getting community engagement in the process and involved in cities that smart city technology can enable.
Right. While U.S. has had a long, and very deep experience in developing these cities, what are the issues that come up subsequently? Building a city or making a smart city is one thing, but then again, following it up and building on additional infrastructure, that is the next step. So how has it been when it comes to such kind of mechanisms being developed, and what has been the experience of the Americans regarding this?
I think the key thing is that we've made every mistake you can make in our urbanization, so we've tried to learn from that. And what we've learned is that the public involvement is key to the success, because if you come up with a strategy by yourself, just with experts, there's no sticking power. But if you work with the community, the business community, the neighborhoods in your planning, and you pick the priorities, then they will go out and they will sell it. And so the implementation is the key here that we've seen in revitalizing our cities, correcting the mistakes that we've made in the past. So I think getting people involved so that there's a shared commitment to the future is really a key.
From the U.S. side, the Smart City Cooperation is being led by the U.S. Trade Development Agency, which along with the U.S. Department of Commerce is working towards forging new relationships between the Indian and U.S. companies for smart city infrastructure development. And critical to this relationship is funding of core infrastructure in the proposed Indian smart cities.
We're talking about seed funding right now, right? And by doing the work now and finding proper ways to begin projects and to plan projects and to de-risk projects, it brings in a wider aperture of opportunities for outside investment. And so we're basically doing our homework now. So when we get to the test, which is, is this the kind of place where we can make money for outside investors? We bring up so many more opportunities there. And then, there's other models too. There's those private-public partnerships, which also involve, talking to leaders in government and other folks and helping to understand what where barriers are to outside financing, right? And how to help, clear those kind of gaps or clear those hurdles. India and the United States obviously have very different types of markets, right? Here in the States, a city wants to build something, they put a bond out, and it's just done. That's not quite done in India this way. But maybe we can find a better way for what works for India. Right. And that's kind of the things that we're looking at trying to help figure out.
If you can also give us some sense of the kind of challenges that all of you have faced and how those challenges are being dealt with. What, according to you, were some of the most important learning lessons from this engagement that we have seen in the past 2 years?
Well, I would say, speaking just from the point of view of Visakhapatnam, I think the top-down support for smart cities is wonderful, and so I think as we've been working to set up governance structures around some of the investment that needs to be made, that's something that a lot of work has been put into, and I think it will ultimately, to your point, bear fruit as part of the seeds that are being planted now. And as you mentioned, the financing and how to structure financing to make the kinds of significant investments in infrastructure that are needed is something that we'll certainly be working towards. Vinay?
I would also say, governance is critical, so the more that can be done in enabling the cities. So right now the states have a lot of authority, but if this is going to be a smart city program, enabling of the cities to have more of the autonomy to make some of these decisions.
Right. And we have seen in New York how startups are coming into urban technology and how they're pushing how they're basically going into the next phase of urban development and ensuring that there is innovation in that space. Do you see that happening in India as well?
Most definitely. I had the pleasure of visiting Ajmer a couple months ago, and it was really great to see, because part of what was doing this major smart cities project was things that really affect citizens on a daily basis. And so someone came up with the idea of, we need a better bike program here in Ajmer. And so they created a bike share program that is better than ones that I've seen here in the States, that is driven from an application on a smartphone. You don't have the same challenges that you would have here. You can actually look at this app and see if there's bikes available, and where I'm going, there's a place for me to park the bike. I can't do that here in D.C. At least I can't do it well. And so when we talk about innovation, I think it's great that someone had the idea to see, all right, well, there's a big transportation problem. And we can figure out roads, we can figure out cars, we can figure out buses, but bikes are prevalent here. So how can we just optimize the bike system? And the fact that it's a whole new model, I'm not, with sharing bikes and being able to just increase transportation for people, regular citizens, to run their errands, so they can actually see the positive effects of the smart city planning from the get-go.
Right.
They don't need to wait years on the road for the new water program, or the new electricity program. They can ride their bike from work to go see a friend after work.
While several countries across the world are now working towards upgrading their urban infrastructure, one lesson that is common to each one of these projects is the involvement of the local community. Unless the local population is made a stakeholder in these smart city projects, we would be simply creating facades that will be of hardly any practical use. It remains to be seen if we can learn from the mistakes that advanced countries like US made in their quest for providing a better life for its citizens. Thank you for watching CNBC TV 18.